Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, good afternoon. It's 1:30 in the PM for me. I do appreciate that for the majority of my audience, this is going to be very, very early, and the majority of people will catch it on the replay. However, in the last hour, Nicola Bulley's cause of death has been revealed. Unfortunately, I was not able to go to the inquest. I was not able to go to the inquest because it was only a week ago that I found out that you had to apply to go. I just thought, right, because all inquests across the UK, actually, I don't know about Scotland and Northern Ireland. Anyway, they are public. You can go. So I was just going to rock up really early at like 8 o'clock this morning and go and wait, because I kind of thought that they'll just let people in on a first come first served basis, and once the place was full, then that would be that. They'd have to close the doors because of fire regs. But no, you had to apply. I didn't know, and by the time I knew, all the places are gone. They allocated 100 places, but all the places are gone. So what I have done, though, is I've put in an Freedom of Information request under the Freedom of Information Act 2000, and I want everything. So I've sent off an email to the Coroner's Court, and I want the Coroner's full report. I want any written or verbal recorded correspondence that the coroner had during his investigation. I want everything written, video that's going to be presented at the inquest. And I know I'm not going to get this, but I've also requested the autopsy report. I know I'm not going to get that because I believe in England it's only family who can get the full autopsy report. But seeing as I was writing in, I was just going to play it. I'm just going to see what they'll give me. So I've requested everything. All right. So they've got 20 working days to respond. So let's see what they send. I would imagine that I'm going to get some stuff. And obviously, as soon as I get it, I will share it with you all. This is publicly available information, or at least it should be. So I will be sharing everything I receive. I'm guessing that some of it will be redacted, but that's fine. All right. Okay. So in the last hour, the cause of death has been revealed, and the cause of death was drowning. So we're going to play some clips. This one that's loaded up here is from Sky News. So we're going to play that first, and then we're going to see what else has come out. So that's County Hall in Preston. That was exactly where I was going to go and camp, right there. Anyway. So I'll just give it a couple of minutes just to let a few people come in. I do have another video loading, a Summer Wells video, which is going to come out later. So it is compromising my bandwidth a little bit because the loading process is obviously using some. So if this goes off or it starts lagging, then just bear with it because it will come back. It's nearly finished uploading anyway. It will come back. But let's just see who's in the house before we get into this properly. Karen, hello. Lady Di, hello. Holly, hi. ASMR Tingled Pink. ASMR, I used to watch ASMR videos. I used to really enjoy watching ASMR videos. I've not watched any for ages. I can get ASMR, like the tingling in your head. Yeah, I get it. Queenie, thank you for becoming a member. It's very kind of you. Welcome to the Secret Agents Club. Beach Fairy, Joe O'Sullivan, L, Madam, KCS, hello from Australia. Afternoon from Liverpool, says Madam. Australia, Karen, Alice, Sharebear, Bob G, Wayward Spirits, Blambriel, Mama Moon, Go Find Me, Alice, Yorkshire Girl. Guessing you're from Yorkshire, the wrong side of the Pennines. Shelley Rue, Go Find Me. I think I've said your name. Drowning. Yes, it's drowning. There is some more details, though, we're going to get into. Kathleen. Who else have we got? Celeste, Angel, Nana, Jessica, Heather Feather, I used to actually follow an ASMR channel called Heather Feather. It's not you, is it? If it is, your videos were very good. And then you just disappeared. I don't know where you went, but it's probably not you. So anyway, Queen of Ravens from another corner of England. Indy, good morning from Florida. It's 8:34 in South Carolina. Lisa, Sketchy Show, Shelley Roo, Curious Cat, and everyone else. We've got quite a few people coming in now. Okay. Hey. Journey takes a trip. Tuning in from my travels around the coastline of the British Isles in my converted removed truck. Brilliant. Currently on the north coast of Scotland. Just returned from Orkney. I've been right to the top of Scotland, but I've never been to Orkney. It's on my bucket list. What are you chewing? It's not Noodle. Who is it? Cassie, what are you chewing? I always blame Noodle. Noodle's chewed up my tax bill. Oh, Noodle's chewed up my tax bill. Not that I want a tax bill, but anyway, he's chewing it up. I can still read it. I still know how much I owe, which is great. Anyway, right. This will trigger people. It will indeed. It will trigger people. I haven't even bothered to check Twitter. We might do. I might pluck up the courage to check Twitter. Maybe later. So just a quick reminder before we start playing these clips. So it's telling me that my internet is just about to die. It's on 1 bar. It's on 1 bar. So if I'm lagging, I do apologize. There's nothing I can do about it. It's simply that I'm using bandwidth by uploading a video. And you can't pause. You can't pause. Once the video's uploading, you can't pause it. Let me just see how long it's got to go. It's only on 56%. It's really slowed right down. Oh, I'm on 2 bars now. Taxman, I know. Taxman. Noodle the accountant, yeah. I'm thinking I should get a rebate. I'm thinking I should get some money back. I'm hoping anyway. My sister does my tax for me, so my sister's good. Twitter is a cesspool. Yes, yes. So I'm going to start playing these clips now. Just a quick reminder, please do keep it respectful. You're very much entitled to have your own opinion, but I really, really, really need you to be respectful. This is a very, very difficult day for Nicola's family and friends, and I just want to be as respectful as possible in talking about how Nicola died. This is now publicly available information, and anything that I present from my freedom of information request, anything that I will share, and I will share everything, I promise, everything I get, but I will do it in the most respectful way possible. Okay, so this is Sky News. So let's listen to what Sky News has said. The link to this is in the description box already, but I am going to be playing some other clips. I've not decided what else I'm going to play yet, so they'll go into the description box after the live has finished. All right, just let me know in the chat that you can hear this okay.
She drowned, according to a Home Office pathologist. He went into great detail about why she concluded that, but she was alive when she went into the water and she died through drowning. The pathologist also said from her post-mortem examination, she deduced that Nicola had no alcohol in her body when she went into the water, and there was no evidence that anybody else had been involved in her death. It was a little unusual, the beginning of this inquest, because the coroner began by issuing a warning. He said that there had been commentary on social media that there was a threat of disruption to the inquest, and he said that anybody who was thinking of disrupting the proceedings would face very swift justice, a contempt of court charge, and would be dealt with very quickly. But he said because of his concerns, extra security had been put around this building. once the inquest was underway, we heard from after the pathologist, we heard from a second witness, a police diver. He talked over aerial photographs of the riverbank and the spot where there is a bench and a slope into the river, the spot where it's thought Nicola Bulley went into the water. The police diver said that the slope down to the bank was very steep, and then there was something like a meter drop into the water itself. And although it was quite shallow initially from the bank, there were rocks under the water. You could see the rocks quite clearly under that very shallow water. But then the police diver said that as you go out into the middle of the water, it falls, the bottom of the river is something like 4 meters deep. And he said if you slipped in at that point, there was nothing on the riverbank to stop you going in. He talked about the river flow on the day Nicola disappeared. It was a bit more than walking pace, he said, and it was flowing downstream around a bend towards a weir. Now, Nicola's body was found 23 days after she vanished, about a mile and a half downstream from that spot by the bench where it's thought she entered the water. As for the water itself on that day, said the police diver, it was very, very cold, about 4 degrees, almost freezing, he said. And if you fell in accidentally in those circumstances, the cold water shock would make you gasp. So that's about as far as we've got with the witnesses. The inquest is expected to last for 2 days. There are 17 witnesses expected to give evidence today, and tomorrow 5 more, including Nicola Bulley's partner, Paul Ansell, and her sister, Louise Cunningham. And one of those 5 witnesses tomorrow is listed as a local GP.
Okay, so that's Sky News. Now, the inquest opened at 10 a.m. and this particular report doesn't give me the time, but it was on the clock here. It said 12:18. So they've probably just had a break for lunch there. And the reporter is reporting live from outside County Hall. So there's probably only been a couple of hours of evidence presented. So I'm going to see what BBC has said, but I think that's quite thorough for just a couple of minutes clip there. So the cause of death was drowning. She was alive when she went in. So that puts paid to anybody saying that she was placed in the water later, as some people have said. And we've seen, I can bring up my footage here. Hold on. Let's bring up my footage from, when was it? 27th of March, when I was there to show you the rocks. Now, I'll say I think that the drop down, hold on. So let me just make sure I've got the right footage. No, that's not the right one. I should have loaded this beforehand, but I didn't. 'Cause I'm a clown. Nope, that's not the right one either. This one. I've got so many files. Nope. Everyone. This is the one. Right. This is the one. Okay. I'll just have to share my entire screen. Why? The browser cannot access your screen. You're just being stupid. All right, we'll do it this way. You're going to make me do it the hard way. They're going to make me do it the hard way. Should have sorted this out before. All right, what's it doing? What is it doing? Why will it not let me do it? This is annoying. It's because I've still not got my normal computer fixed. And this one, it just does strange things to me. It tells me that there's certain things it won't let me do. All right. Why? Why are you not showing? Why are you not showing it? StreamYard is sharing a window. Yes, it is sharing a window, but it's not looking like it is. It's not sharing the window properly, is it? You massive clown. This browser's blocking me sharing this for some bizarre reason. Let's just try once more. Why? Why won't you do it? Doesn't seem to want to let me share. I think I've got permissions on this browser that are probably too rigorous for StreamYard for some reason. I know what I can do. Instead of just sharing the raw file, we can bring up my video because it's all on my channel. So we can just bring up my video. I have to just go back in time here to March 27th because I showed it all in a live stream. Let's have a look. Here. There's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Here we go. Got it. Right. All right. Here goes. Yay. All right. Michelle, get your act together. Here we go. All right. So I did show some pictures. Now I've got like a million windows open. Hold on. All right. So this is from the embankment. Just zoom out a little bit here. So you've got the embankment, just to remind everyone. You've got that's very blurry. I think actually my camera was out of focus for a little while when I was there, and it does improve. So it's not your screen, it's my camera just not focusing properly, but it does get better. So the embankment comes down from the bench, which is pretty steep. Cassie nearly knocked me over at one point on my first visit there on the 6th of February when the embankment was pretty slippery. And of course, Nicola went missing in winter on the 27th of January. And then the drop down from the edge of the bank into the water, I estimate it between 10 and 12 feet from the top of the embankment to the bank, to the riverbed. Sorry. So from this area, the edge of the bank to the riverbed, I'll estimate it at about 10 to 12 feet. But anyway, so you've got that steep drop down. And then he said, the police diver said, as I saw on my footage, I'll show you right here, I have got some enhanced photos of this. And these are big rocks. These are big rocks. If I just play this, it's impossible to tell until you enhance the pictures because you've got the reflections from the water. But there's big rocks on the bottom there. And then he said, get your act together, Michelle. What are you doing? Yeah, lovely plants. I'm climbing down, I think. Or am I climbing? Oh, I'm climbing up at that point. But it's... we'll play it. we might as well play it while we're talking. And I'm going to find some more clips here. So we'll do this. We'll play it from there. All right. So, so the police diver said that although it's shallow at that edge where the rocks are, it very soon... What it looks like to me is that there's some rocks, and then there's like a layer of rocks, and then there's a shelf, and it seems to just drop really quickly. And it's 4 meters deep in the middle. So 4 meters deep is 4 meters, 4 years, I don't know, 4 meters in feet, maybe about 18 feet, something like that. In the US, this would be a stream. All right, well, that's fine if you want to call it a stream. It's this stream is 4 meters deep in the middle at that location. And the water temperature was 4 degrees C, which is just above freezing. So 4 degrees in Fahrenheit. Hold on. For those of you in America, 4 degrees C in Fahrenheit is 39 degrees. So on the day Nicola disappeared, it was 4 degrees in that water. So that's cold. That's cold. Somebody like her fit and sporty shouldn't fall in stupidly. Well, accidents happen, right? The diver said it's less than 2 foot where the rocks are. Yeah, but in the middle, just after the shelf. So if you fall in, listen, if you fall in, you're on those rocks. I personally think she was injured or even unconscious, but there's no way to prove that. That's been my theory all along. And she's disoriented. She's cold. She's disoriented. And she tries to swim. And she gets in the middle and she gets into trouble. That's been my theory all along. I think she possibly tripped over the dog. Quite possibly. Because Cassie had a go at knocking me in. How suicide was ignored. There's no evidence. However, that we're going to hear from Nicola's GP tomorrow. So they've not given the manner of death. They've given the cause of death. There's a difference between the cause of death and the manner of death. So the cause of death is what caused you to die. So what caused her to die was drowning. But why she died is another matter. So you can have homicide, which it appears that they've ruled out because no one else was involved. You can have suicide, you can have accidental death, you can have misadventure, you can have undetermined, right? So we don't know that yet. There's only been a morning, probably only about 2 hours of testimony so far from the witness, who was the medical examiner who did the autopsy, and then a police diver who was there on the day, who was in that water on the day. And the pace of the water, he said, was just over walking pace, so about 3 miles an hour. So within a few minutes, she would have been over that weir and out of that immediate vicinity. When do we find what out? When do we find what out? Manner of death. They'll probably conclude the manner of death after all the witnesses. No. We've only had 1 morning of testimony. All right, I'm going to play the Sky News clip again because there's people coming in who are asking questions about what was actually in this clip. So this is 3 minutes. So I'm going to play this again. Yes, the inquest only started today at 10 a.m. Why couldn't they find the body? Because it's notoriously difficult finding a body in a moving body of water. In fact, any body of water. I've talked about that extensively on my channel. It's only because there's so many people looking for Nicola that she was found so quickly. Some people are missing for months. Some people are never recovered. Some people are never recovered. So, okay, we'll play this clip again and I'll break this down. We'll stop it because I just played it through, but we'll play it and we'll break it down. Okay, let's go.
She drowned, according to a Home Office pathologist. He went into great detail about why she concluded that, but she was alive when she went into the water.
So she was alive when she went into the water. So they can tell that from various things, right? Presumably, in this instance, there would be water in her lungs, there'd be probably water in her stomach, and she was alive when she went in. So she wasn't murdered and then put into the river at a later date. That's clear.
And she died through drowning.
So cause of death is drowning.
The pathologist also said from her post-mortem examination, she deduced that Nicola had no alcohol in her body.
So not drunk and staggering around on the bank, completely disoriented, not drunk taking her children to school recklessly, so no alcohol in her system.
She went into the water, and there was no evidence that anybody else had been involved in her death.
So no evidence that anyone else was involved in her death. So we knew that anyway. We knew that anyway, because this was a coroner's investigation and not a criminal investigation. But people didn't believe me at the time. But anyway, there is that. I do know the law, guys. So no evidence anyone else was involved. So I'm assuming that they've now ruled out homicide as a manner of death. Okay, so nothing to do with alcohol. Hormone replacement therapy, don't know. We're going to hear from her GP tomorrow. Manner of death to come, yes. But if no one else was involved, homicide is dying at the hands of someone else. So homicide's not on the table. It's never been on the table because this has been a coroner's investigation, which is not a criminal court. Okay, moving on.
It was a little unusual, the beginning of this inquest, because the coroner began by issuing a warning. He said that there had been commentary on social media that there was a threat of disruption to the inquest, and he said that anybody who was thinking of disrupting the proceedings would face very swift justice, a contempt of court charge, and would be dealt with very quickly. But he said because of his concerns, extra security had been put around this building. Once the inquest was underway, we heard from after the pathologist, we heard from a second witness, a police diver. He talked over aerial photographs of the riverbank and the spot where there is a bench and a slope into the river, the spot where it's thought Nicola Bulley went into the water. The police diver said that the slope down to the bank was very steep, and then there was something like a meter drop.
So the slope down to the bank would be the embankment. So from the bench to the river bank, the start of the river bank, and that embankment is it's artificial. It's a flood defence.
Into the water itself, and although it was quite shallow initially from the bank, there were rocks under the water. You could see the rocks.
So you can see the rocks. You absolutely can see the rocks. They are big rocks. If you fall onto those unexpectedly, you're going to be winded, disoriented, if not unconscious. But if you fall head first, I think you're just going to get yourself knocked out. If you fall body first, then you're going to be winded, in my opinion.
Quite clearly under that very shallow water. But then the police diver said that as you go out into the middle of the water, it falls, the bottom of the river is something like 4 meters deep.
So the middle at the bench is 4 meters deep. 4 meters deep. So what's 4 meters in feet? 4 meters in feet is 13 feet. Okay, so it's about 13 feet in the middle.
And he said if you slipped in at that point, there was nothing on the riverbank to stop you going in. He talked about the river flow on the day Nicola disappeared. It was a bit more than walking pace.
So a bit more than walking pace. Walking pace is about 3 miles an hour. So, I mean, I was estimating it slower than that just by looking at the floor, but obviously they have the tools and things to measure it.
He said, and it was flowing downstream around a bend towards a weir. Now, Nicola's body was found 23 days after she...
It's a very shallow weir. I've got lots of footage of the weir. Just go back and look at my videos. I've got the weir from all different angles.
Vanished about a mile and a half downstream from that spot by the bench where it's thought she entered the water. As for the water itself on that day, said the police diver, it was very, very cold, about 4 degrees, almost freezing, he said. And if you fell in accidentally in those circumstances, the cold water shock would make you gasp.
So 4 degrees C is 39 degrees Fahrenheit, for those of you who work in Fahrenheit. So just above freezing.
So that's about as far as we've got with the witnesses. The inquest is expected to last for 2 days. There are 17 witnesses expected to give evidence today, and tomorrow 5 more, including Nicola Bulley's partner, Paul Ansell, and her sister, Louise Cunningham. And one of those 5 witnesses tomorrow is listed as a local GP. She drowned.
Okay, so it started at 10 a.m. today. It's going over 2 days. No, just 1.5 more days, Langraman. So it started at 10 a.m. UK time. You can see from the clock here on Sky News that it was 12:18 p.m. when this guy was reporting live from outside of County Hall. So this would have been the lunch break. So they'd only heard from 2 witnesses that this guy reported on. The police diver who talked about the speed of the water, the depth of the water, the temperature of the water, and the medical examiner who did the autopsy. So those are the 2 people who have spoken this morning. There are 17 witnesses who are going to speak overall today. All right. And then tomorrow, there's another 5 witnesses. So there's a long way to go in this inquest. But what we do have is the cause of death, which was drowning. All right. Now, I do hope that people will leave her family alone. No, I really do. I really do. Let's listen to the Sun. Not that I like the Sun at all, but let's listen to what the Sun have to say.
During an inquest. The mum of 2 died from drowning and was alive when she entered the water. Her body was found 3 weeks after she vanished in January near the River Wyre and was identified by her dental records. Nicola's disappearance gripped the nation and sparked a social media.
So there's nothing new on that one. I'm just going to refresh this to see if anything new's come up. Let's do a filter on here. Let's do last hour. I'm going to see if the BBC, just a second. BBC. Yes, I have a TV license. Piss off. No, I don't want to listen to zoo things. See what,
So a show of unity, a show of strength.
see if there's anything on the news here. Maybe BBC will only do a report later, if they do at all. Oh, that's County Hall. I'm sure that was County Hall. Doesn't do a preview. This is annoying. Maybe it wasn't. This is so annoying. Maybe not. Maybe we'll do it this way. BBC News. BBC News, Nicola Bulley. Oh, okay. Good report here. Just seeing if there's any other details that weren't mentioned. Nicola Bulley died as a result of drowning, blah, blah, blah. So the Home Office pathologist, Dr. Alison Armour, is the person who did the autopsy. No evidence she was harmed. Pathologist also said she'd not been drinking. Coroner Dr. James Adley said at the time of her death she had no alcohol in her bloodstream. Dr. Armour replied, "That's my opinion." The pathologist also dismissed any third-party involvement or that any harm had come to Miss Bulley on the morning of her death. Paracetamol and a prescription beta blocker called propranolol were also found, but in very small amounts, not considered to be an overdose. So paracetamol, for American viewers, it's a very mild painkiller. You get it for headaches. They don't work. They don't work, in my opinion. But they're very mild. Children can take them. So she had low levels of paracetamol. So she was having Tylenol. Thank you. So low levels of Tylenol and then a prescription beta blocker called propranolol was also found, but in very small amounts, not considered an overdose. So presumably that would just be prescription medication, but her GP is going to be talking tomorrow. Her GP is a witness tomorrow. She noted Miss Bulley's body had clearly been in the river for a period of time. Miss Bulley's partner, Paul Ansell, and sister Louise Cunningham are amongst the witnesses giving evidence tomorrow. Okay. All right. So there's nothing else new. Okay, so there's a video. In a video shown to the court, PC Matthew Thackeray said there is a large vertical slope from the bench into the water. On the day, there was a steady flow downstream. The river was 4 degrees C, so almost freezing. If she fell in, the muscles would probably seize, making it difficult to swim properly. He estimated she would... Wow. He estimated she would have floated at 1 meter a second downstream. Wow. Okay. So 1 meter a second downstream. Now, I estimate that to the weir, it's probably about 400 feet, 300 to 400 feet. we're not talking about tramadol. Tramadol's stronger than paracetamol. You take propranolol for migraines. Well, Nicola was having headaches, so that's probably what she was taking it for. But we'll hear from her GP tomorrow. All right, so a meter a second, so it's 400 feet, roughly. That's just an estimate. So 400 feet in meters. So 120. That's not right. Okay. Oh, yeah, it is. 121 meters. No. Did it? Anyway. Maybe it's 400 yards. That makes more sense. Hold on. Yeah. Sorry. Scratch what I just said. I've estimated the weir to be around 400 yards, not 400 feet, 400 yards, which is 365 meters. So if she was traveling at a meter per second, then what were we doing? 365 seconds, she would be at the weir from the bench. So what's 365 seconds in minutes? It's about 6 minutes, isn't it? 65 seconds in minutes. 6 minutes. So in 6 minutes, she would have been at the weir. So she would have been over the weir by the time anybody was looking for her. Imperial measurements make your brain hurt. I was brought up at school in meters and centimeters, but at home we always use feet and inches, and I cannot work in centimeters and meters. I can't visualize what that looks like. So I have to convert everything to yards and feet. I do. It is fast. It is fast. I'd estimated that if the river was going at 1 mile an hour, she would have been at the weir in about 15 minutes. But as the flow was, and they measure it, they don't just eyeball it like I did and go, oh yeah, that's quite slow, that's maybe 1 mile an hour. They have tools and things that actually measure it. So it was going a little more than walking pace, and walking pace is about 3 miles an hour. So she'd have been at that weir in about 6 minutes. So anybody coming to the side of that bank and looking over, she wouldn't be there. She wouldn't be there. Wouldn't be there. Okay, Professor Michael Tipton from the University of Portsmouth, who supports search and rescue operators such as the Royal, what is that? WRLI. I think that's lifeboats, said just 2 breaths of water could have been a lethal dose. We estimate the temperature would have been around 3 to 5 degrees C, so there would have been particular powerful cold shock response. Cold water expert Dr. Patrick Morgan said Miss Bulley may have only been able to hold her breath for 1 or 2 seconds at best in the river. On the occasion that the individual has taken that initial gasp on the surface of the water and then gone below, the duration would be 10 seconds that you could hold your breath, and very likely 1 or 2 seconds at best, because it's so cold. So you're kind of gasping. Yeah, it's the lifeboats. What I never know what it stands for. If people wore an air tag, we could find them. Yeah, I guess you could. Yeah, but I wouldn't want people to know where I am at all times. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't. Not that I'm doing anything dodgy, but let's have a look what else has come out. I think that we are going to get an influx of information later. Once the afternoon's over. Oh, that's Preston. Of course you're going to load an ad. We don't just want to see.
As long as they've got the relevant credentials.
We don't just want to see you going in. That's stupid. So died as a result of drowning and was alive, blah, blah, blah. Just looking to see if there's any new details here. Okay, summing up her findings, Miss Armour, it's actually Dr. Armour, said, I conclude the cause of death as drowning. The lungs themselves show classical features we see in drownings. In my opinion, Nicola Bulley was alive when she entered the water. The hearing is to resume at 2 p.m. Oh, yes. Yes, I love it when they do this. All right, we're going to go from the bottom. They've done like a blow-by-blow count. All right. All right, so it starts here. So it started at 10 a.m. UK time. What do you mean opinion or fact? What are you talking about? This is a medical examiner's professional opinion. So Nicola Bulley's partner and sister are set to give evidence during the inquest. So Sky News said that they're speaking tomorrow. Yep. County Hall was busy with members of the public and media this morning ahead of the 2-day hearing. Yeah, well, if they'd have let me in, then I'd have been there as well. Nicola Bulley's family will be represented at the inquest by solicitor Terry Wilcox. Okay. A spokesperson for the firm said her family are hopeful and confident that the inquest process will establish the true facts, a clear timeline of what happened and how Nicola died. Her family will not be making any comment until all the evidence has been heard and until the coroner has delivered his conclusion. So we won't get the conclusion, i.e. the manner of death, until all the evidence has been heard. But it's the medical examiner's professional opinion that she drowned. That was her cause of death. Because people do confuse cause and manner of death. Okay. That is a fact. It is a fact. It is a fact. That she had the classical signs of drowning in her lungs. That is a fact. Okay. Miss Bulley's parents, Ernie and daughter, accompanied by a partner. They sat in the public gallery listening to the first witness give evidence at the 2-day hearing. Detective Superintendent Rebecca Smith, who led the investigation into the mum of two's disappearance, is also present. The inquest will hear from 20 witnesses, 16 of whom will speak today. Well, Sky News says 17, but I'm not arguing. Among those to give evidence include the Home Office pathologist, underwater and location experts, a surgeon who identified Miss Bulley through her dental records, and the person who found her phone on a bench. The hearing is due to start shortly. So they started very late because it was meant to start at 10 o'clock and this is 10:53. Okay. Dr. James Adley has now arrived in court, meaning that proceedings can begin. He began by addressing Nicola's family directly and asking how they would like him to refer to her. They have asked he uses Nikki rather than Miss Bulley. Dr. Adley said, "I am sorry that you were attending court under these circumstances. You have my deepest condolences, and I would be grateful if you would pass that on to the children who are not in court for obvious reasons." The coroner said he was aware that the social media and press interest has been extensive. At the centre of this inquest are two children who have lost their mother, a partner, and parents who have also lost a daughter. Okay. Extra security is in place for the inquest into Miss Bulley's death due to the social media interest in the case. Dr. James Adley, senior coroner for Lancashire, said additional security provisions have been put in place by police and the county council. This is to ensure the safety of everyone attending the inquest. The coroner has also warned attendees not to disrupt proceedings following unusual online commentary about Miss Bulley's death. Yeah, absolute complete arsewipes. He added, if anyone has the slightest inclination or is contemplating disrupting this inquest, they should be aware that this will amount to contempt of court and will take you out back and shoot you in the head. Okay, so Nicola Bulley died as a result of drowning and was alive when she fell into the water, a Home Office pathologist has said. Dr. Alison Armour, giving evidence at the inquest at County Hall in Preston, said watery fluid and fragments of dirt found inside Miss Bulley's body were typical features we see in cases of drowning. Those are the facts. Those are the facts. She added that Miss Bulley was alive when she entered the water and that there was no evidence she was harmed. Miss Bulley's mum and sister wept as the pathologist gave evidence at the inquest. Miss Nicola Bulley had not been drinking before her death. Although there was some alcohol content, this was a result of the body decomposition and produced by bacteria rather than consumed. That's always the case when somebody has decomposed for 23 days. The bacterial decomposition of the body does result in some creation of alcohol, but it doesn't mean to say you've consumed it. It means that it's been made by the bacteria. Dr. James Adley, senior coroner for Lancashire, asked Dr. Alison Armour, who was giving evidence at the inquest, at the time of her death, she had no alcohol in her bloodstream. And Dr. Armour replied, "That's my opinion." No signs of assault or third-party involvement. There was some bruising to Miss Bulley's body, but these did not contribute to her death, the inquest was told. Dr. Adley asked the witness, is there any evidence of third-party involvement playing any part in her death? Miss Armour, Dr. Armour, replied, no, there was not. She also denied that there had been any indications that Miss Bulley was assaulted or harmed in any way. So presumably the bruising was as a result of her falling onto rocks, but they were not a contributory factor to her death. Okay. Nicola Bulley fell in river before floating downstream. Police diver. Police underwater search specialist said he believed Nicola Bulley fell into the River Wyre before floating downstream. A video of PC Matthew Thackeray of St Michael's on Wyre in Lancashire, where Miss Bulley is believed to have fallen in, was shown in court. In it, he said, there is a large vertical slope from the bench into the water. On the day, there was a steady flow downstream. He went on, the river was 4 degrees, so almost freezing, and if she fell in, the muscles were probably seized, making it difficult to swim properly. He estimated she would have floated a metre a second. River at high tide when Nicola went missing, inquest hears. The river was high tide when Miss Bulley went missing, a police diver had said. Miss Thackeray showed a video to the court of himself floating over the weir with ease while saying the river level on that day in April was lower than at the time Miss Bulley vanished. So we do know that they were there in April. Someone from YouTube filmed them, and that person said that this police diver did not float over the weir. But this guy, Mr. Thackeray, showed a video to the court of himself floating over the river, floating over the weir with ease, while saying the river level on that day in April was lower than at the time Miss Bulley vanished. He said, "This part of the river is tidal. When we're here, it was flowing downstream. On the day, by the time we arrived, it was low tide. That means it was high tide earlier in the day and potentially pushing things back up." His team arrived around 4 p.m. on January 27th. Mr. Thackeray said that on the day Miss Bulley disappeared, the temperature of the water was around 4 degrees. The inquest was shown a video of the diver in the river during the investigation. In the clip taken in April, it can be heard saying, "That would feel very cold, almost freezing if you fell in. The cold water shock would have probably taken effect and caused you to gasp for breath, cause your muscles to seize up so you can't swim properly." On whether it would be possible to climb out of the river, he said, "No, not at all. It's very difficult to get out of the water here." "2 breaths of water would be a lethal dose for Miss Bulley, an expert has told the inquest. Professor Michael Tipton said, "We estimate the temperature would be around 3 to 5 degrees C in the River Wyre. So there would be particularly powerful cold shock response. For somebody of Nicola's size, it would have taken 1 or 2 breaths in of water to be a lethal dose." Cold water expert Dr. Patrick Morgan said Miss Bulley may have only been able to hold her breath for 1 to 2 seconds at best. Told the inquest, after falling in, the heart rate goes excessively high, the blood pressure surges excessively high, the heart pumps no blood, and the brain switches off. The potential conscious time, here quoted, are optimistic. It is potentially shorter. On the occasion that the individual has taken that initial gasp on the surface of the water and then gone below, the duration would be 10 seconds that you could hold your breath and likely 1 or 2 seconds at best. The temperature of the water on the day Miss Bulley went missing meant that someone would lose consciousness within roughly 20 to 30 seconds, said Professor Tipton. He told the inquest, "In my opinion, given the nature of the likely entry into the water, I would suspect Nicola had a gasp response under the water, initiating the drowning process. On the balance of probability, there was a fairly rapid incapacitation due to the cold shock. It was also heard it could be estimated 20 to 30 seconds before she lost consciousness." On how a person would react to entering cold water, Professor Tipton said, "Those first seconds in the water, people really aren't considering anything else. We have heard people talk about roots to grab onto and points of safety, but you would not be thinking about that. You are preoccupied with attempting to hold your breath to get back to the surface. There is no normal logical cognition going on," because it's the shock of the cold. Hearing is to resume at 2 p.m. So it's now 2:30. So let's just see. Let's just see if there's been an update to this blow by blow account. Yes, there has. Yes, there's more. There's more. How do I get rid of this thing? Of them taking a... There we go. All right. Okay. So, Nicola Bulley's body may have sunk onto the surface of the river after she fell in, an underwater search expert has said. Dr. Lorna Dennison-Wilkins told the inquest in Preston, Nikki may have had some buoyancy in her claws, which would have dispelled. Once that happened, she would have lost that buoyancy and her body would have sunk under the surface, was my assessment. Okay. So that's in the middle of a witness. So I have to wait till that witness finishes. Yeah, that's it. He just panicked. And if she was unconscious in 20 to 30 seconds, it doesn't matter whether you're a good swimmer or not. You're a good swimmer in a swimming pool where it's nice and warm, but are you a good swimmer when you fall in onto rocks, bruise yourself, and it's cold, freezing cold, and then you panic, and then within 20 to 30 seconds you're unconscious? Are you a good swimmer then? Exactly. Thank you. Never a criminal case. Only if it bruised. So that's as far as it's got so far. No, they don't, especially when they fall in and they're completely shocked and they are gasping for air, but instead are taking in water and then are unconscious within 20 to 30 seconds. It's actually unusual for drowning victims to scream for those reasons. I nearly drowned when I was 17. So I didn't scream because I was panicking and I was under the water and I was taking in water. And if somebody had not seen me and got me out, I would be dead by now. And I will be delivering this live stream to you from beyond the grave. So thank you, Gavin, for rescuing me. That was very kind of you. His name was Gavin. Thank him later. Exactly. Some people need conspiracy theories in their lives. All right, guys, I'm getting snarky now, so I'm going to go and I'm going to come back later. So when the hearing's finished this afternoon, I'll come back and talk about what has been said this afternoon. I would have been there. I would have been there live. However, I only found out last week that you had to apply. And by the time I found out, all the places had gone. So what I've done instead is I've put a Freedom of Information request in. I want everything. I want everything that was presented to the public at the inquest, including all written reports, including all the videos, anything that they presented to the public at the inquest I want. I also want the coroner's full report and any correspondence the coroner had as part of his investigation. And I know I'll not get this, but I've also requested the autopsy report. I know I'll not get the autopsy report, but I should get everything that was presented, because once it's presented, it becomes publicly available information. So they should just send it to me. They've got 20 working days to respond. So let's wait and see. Once that comes in, whatever comes in, I will be showing you guys, because I've not done that just for my morbid curiosity. I've done that because this is publicly available information, and I will share it with you all. I'll share everything I get with you all when it comes, if it comes. Some of it will come. I know that some of it will come. Some of it, they might have a rule and say, oh, we can't show you that, but we'll see. We'll see. You can't actually physically scream. My mother can't scream. My mother can't shout, she says. I don't know. That's what she says. All right, I'm going to be back later. They'll also, actually, I'm not going to do 2 live streams and then a video in one day, because YouTube goes nuts with notifications and things. So the video that I made today will come out tomorrow, or I might put it out like late tonight. So there is a video in the works though about the Summerwells case, but I will be back later, probably about 6 p.m. my time. So in probably about 3.5 hours, I'll come back and we'll talk about what the inquest has reported on this afternoon. You like snarking, Michelle? Good. Good. All right. Thanks, guys. I shall see you later on. See you later. Bye-bye.